There are moments in BTS history that look ordinary at first, until you realize they changed everything. A single decision, one unexpected opportunity, one painful setback, or one unforgettable performance can completely redirect a career. But which 7 moments truly changed BTS forever? What happened behind the scenes when their future was still uncertain? And which turning point made the difference between being a promising K-pop group and becoming a global phenomenon? Stay with us, because some of these moments may not be the ones you expect.
Number 7. Jin. The night the world finally noticed him. May 21st, 2017. Las Vegas. The Billboard Music Awards. On paper, it was simply another major award ceremony. But for BTS, this night was anything but ordinary. And for Jin, standing there beside the other 6 members, something happened that would quietly change the scale of BTS's career forever. The group had already built an enormous following in South Korea and across parts of Asia. Their songs were spreading internationally, their fan base was becoming increasingly organized and passionate, and their name was no longer completely unfamiliar outside Korea. But there was still a huge difference between being famous online and being recognized by the mainstream American music industry. Then came the Billboard Music Awards. BTS was nominated for Top Social Artist alongside some of the biggest names in global entertainment. Justin Bieber had dominated that category for years. Selena Gomez, Ariana Grande, and Shawn Mendes were also among the major names connected to the award. BTS were the outsiders. They were the K-pop group walking into a room where the rules had largely been written by Western pop culture. And yet, when their name was announced as the winner, the atmosphere changed instantly. Jin and the other members stood up, visibly overwhelmed, while the crowd reacted to the result. For many people watching around the world... Number 6. RM. The speech that turned BTS into a global voice. September 24th, 2018. New York City, the United Nations headquarters. For a group that had once been fighting simply to be heard in the music industry, the sight of RM standing behind a United Nations podium was almost surreal. But this was not a concert, not an awards show, and not a typical celebrity appearance. BTS had been invited to speak at the launch of UNICEF's Generation Unlimited initiative, a global campaign focused on helping young people build better futures. And among the 7 members, RM became the voice who carried the message directly to the world. What made the moment so powerful was not just where he was standing, but what he chose to say. He did not stand there pretending that BTS had always been confident, successful, or certain about their future. Instead, he connected their global rise to something much more human.
Number 5. Jimin. The solo breakthrough nobody could ignore. March 24th, 2023. The name Jimin suddenly became impossible to avoid. After years of building his identity as one of BTS's most recognizable performers, Jimin stepped into an entirely different challenge, standing alone. No 7-member formation, no RM beside him handling an interview, no Jungkook sharing the chorus, no J-Hope turning the stage into a dance explosion, no SUGA, V, or Jin completing the familiar BTS picture. Just Jimin, his voice, his story, and the enormous expectations of a global audience waiting to see whether one member of BTS could create a musical identity powerful enough to stand on its own. The answer arrived with Face, his first solo album. And what happened next was much bigger than a successful solo debut. Jimin became the first South Korean solo.
Number 4. SUGA. The moment he stopped hiding the pain. For SUGA, one of the most career-changing moments did not arrive with a trophy, a record-breaking chart position, or a glamorous red carpet. It came when he decided to stop separating his music from the parts of his life that were difficult to talk about. Long before the world knew him as SUGA of BTS or August D, Min Yoongi had already built a reputation around honesty. But there was a point when that honesty became much more personal, and the decision to put his struggles into music transformed the way audiences understood him forever. His first mixtape as August D, released in 2016, became that turning point.
At the time, it was easy to see the project simply as a side release from a member of BTS. But
Number 3. J-Hope, the solo stage that proved he could stand alone. When people think about J-Hope, one word often comes to mind almost immediately: energy. But behind that bright smile, explosive choreography, and seemingly effortless confidence was an artist who had spent years carrying one of BTS's most demanding responsibilities: the responsibility of making a stage feel alive. So when J-Hope stepped into his solo era, the biggest question was not whether he could dance. Everyone already knew the answer. The real question was much harder. Could the man who helped create BTS's collective energy build an entire artistic world around himself? In 2022, that question received its answer through Jag in the Box, his first solo album, and especially through his headline performance at Lollapalooza in Chicago. On July 31st, 2022, J-Hope became the first South Korean artist to headline the main stage of the festival. Suddenly, the performer who had spent years standing in formation with 6 other members was alone in front of a massive festival crowd. There was no BTS choreography.
Number 2. V. The moment his unique voice became unforgettable. There was a time when V was known primarily for one thing that instantly separated him from the rest of BTS: his voice. Deep, warm, slightly husky, and unmistakably different, it could sound almost effortless one second and intensely emotional the next. But having a distinctive voice is one thing. Turning that voice into an artistic identity that millions of people could recognize within seconds is something else entirely. For V, one of the biggest career-changing moments came through the release of his solo album Layover in September 2023. It was a project that did not try to compete with the loudest trends in pop music. It did something much more interesting. It slowed everything down. It allowed V to step away from the enormous scale of BTS and introduce the world to a quieter, more intimate version of himself. And that decision became one of the clearest demonstrations that every BTS member could build a completely different artistic universe. Before Layover existed, V had already developed a reputation for being one of the group's most distinctive performers. His voice had become a recognizable part of BTS's sound, particularly in songs that demanded emotional weight and a deeper vocal color. But V's artistic personality had always been broader than singing. He had an interest in photography, fashion, acting, visual storytelling, and vintage aesthetics. Even within BTS, he often approached performances with a cinematic quality. His expressions could tell a story without requiring exaggerated movement. His styling could become a talking point. His voice could make a simple melody feel nostalgic. Yet, for years, all of these qualities existed inside the massive framework of BTS. Layover changed that. Suddenly, the audience had...
Number 1. Jungkook, the performance that changed everything. If there is one moment that perfectly captures the transformation of BTS from a Korean boy group into a global pop phenomenon, it is the night Jungkook stepped onto one of the world's biggest sporting stages and performed in front of a global audience that had little room for second chances. November 20th, 2022. Al Bayt Stadium, Qatar. The FIFA World Cup opening ceremony. Jungkook performed Dreamers, becoming the first South Korean artist to perform at a FIFA World Cup opening ceremony, and suddenly the youngest member of BTS was standing alone at the center of an international event watched by audiences across the planet. No BTS formation, no 6-member safety net, no familiar group choreography carrying the performance forward. Just Jungkook, a massive stadium, a global broadcast, and a song that had to work for people who might never have listened to K-pop before. And that is exactly why this moment belongs at number 1. The story becomes even more powerful when you remember where Jungkook started. Born in Busan, South Korea, Jungkook was still extremely young when he entered the entertainment world. Before BTS debuted, he had auditioned for a Korean talent program and received offers from several entertainment companies. He ultimately chose Big Hit Entertainment after seeing RM perform, joining a company that at the time was far smaller than the entertainment giants